Alright, last video was a little rambly, so I'm going to hopefully nail this one down a little better. So, Harvey versus Dow. Woman builds a house on the family property, wants the land underneath, which has been promised to her on and off. It's been said, oh, I'm going to give it to you. It's never been said that they weren't going to give it to her, but there have been times where it's been close to them not giving it to her. Anyway, big family falling out after she builds the house. So in this case, promissory estoppel, it exists to enforce promises that otherwise would not be enforced and to prevent injustice. There are two things they're trying to do with promissory estoppel: prevent injustice and enforce a promise. Right? So the woman built the house and relied on the promise that was made to her. So essentially, the family could give her the money that she used to build the house. That would be her reliance, or they could perform on the promise. Either way, they would be meeting the bounds of what promissory estoppel is trying to do. I don't recall in which case, which they ended up doing. I think in this case she did end up getting the land, because I think the family kind of got back together after this. I feel like if someone in my family sued me, I would not ever want to talk to them again. Like, would you? I don't know. So yeah, a promise does not need to be expressed, right? Both her and the family said it was expressed. But to be clear, it doesn't need to be expressed. A promise can be implied. And this is a very big part of just real estate law that you have to understand is when someone who's promised land improves that land, they are owed the land. So my buddy Jim, he's my neighbor, and he says, well, look, I can't rebuild my fence. I don't have the back for it, and I hate paying people to do stuff on my land. So I'll make you a deal. You put down the fence, and you make sure it's close enough, right? You make sure it's close enough. You can take a few square feet of my land or whatever. It doesn't matter to me. You make sure there's not too much of my land, but if you accidentally take a little bit of my land, that's all right. And you can have the land. You can have the land on your side of the fence. And even the land under the fence. I don't care. The fence will be yours to own. You maintain it. You can take a little bit of my land. What do you do? Doesn't matter to me. I don't know. I figured you'd agree to that deal because, well, you want a fence there, and the neighbor says, okay. So you lay the new fence boundary. In that case, yeah, you would get the land. You improved it. That's not a great example because, you're not really supposed to be adjusting boundaries like that. But yes, if he promised you the land and you went and improved it, you're owed the land. Now, in that case, there's also some consideration involved. So maybe a better example would be like, Jim says, I hate my kids. I hate my wife. You can have my land when I die. And I say, okay, Jim. And Jim doesn't live on this plot of land. So I'm out there all the time, treating the land like my land, planting crops, irrigating it. I put in a pretty fountain or whatever. Jim's widow comes and sues me, and I go, whoa, he promised me the land. Why was I improving the land? I was improving the land because he promised me the land. You get the land, assuming you can either vaguely prove the promise or you can get everybody to agree that that's why you were improving the land. All right. So, yeah, Harvey v. Dow, that's not the establishing case for that principle. That's just a principle that already existed.